Afternoon.
Welcome to Wednesday Coffee Chat with Lindsay and Nili.
Hi guys.
So,
Actually, I'm more of a hey y'all.
That's true. Every week, I don't remember. Like it seems like it should be our running gag. Like I say good morning and you say good afternoon every week. I just say good morning because it's morning to me.
That's right.
I don't
but
think
you
about
pause. It. You pause long enough for me to think that you're gonna stop, and so I jump in, and that is our shtick. Like that's just it. We are just totally bumbling our way through all these things, and we kind of talk over each other from time to time, and that's just the way it is.
There are people that don't enjoy that, and they don't come back, and that's fine. But I know everyone here, they love us for us.
That's right. That is absolutely it. Yes.
It's like you really find out who your true friends are when you show your bumbling self.
That's it.
So we appreciate you all.
We very much so do. You are the ones who are like our people.
Yes.
The people that we would easily spend time with.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, okay, we can be messes and we can do it all together.
Yeah, and we do it every single week on Wednesday.
That's right.
The chat is already hopping over here. We got
Eclectic
and Karina. Eclectic Cabin won one of my giveaways this past Saturday, and it should have shipped out yesterday. I took it to the mailbox on Monday. I was like, doing it right first day of the week, and then it was Indigenous Peoples Day, and the post office is closed. So
yeah,
now yesterday. So you should be getting it very soon.
You tried.
I tried. I was so on top of it. I was so excited with myself.
Right? It's so good whenever you think I have these tasks and this time I'm not putting them off, and then you actually execute in a timely fashion. Yeah. It's always a good time. Good time.
Our plan was to go to the post office and then go to the library. And so that didn't work out.
Sorry, I got real excited. I just saw Miriam is in the chat.
Miriam's here, and you guys are bestest friends after hanging out again in person.
I actually am not besties with her. It's actually Lauren. It's the shrunk down version of Lindsay is besties with Miriam. Also with Rachel. I'm pretty sure that Rachel and Miriam are officially in Lauren's little tribe.
Okay, like adopted aunties.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I want to be Lauren's adopted auntie.
You can be.
I mean, I'm still virtual. I need to be in person.
I agree. I agree. Actually, literally today, Lauren was sitting at the counter while I was cleaning up the kitchen, and she said, "I know you have your chat with Mealy." She said Mealy instead of Mealy. I was like, "That's adorable." She said, "Now Mealy is your cousin or your friend?" And I was like,
from another mister.
That's right. We're just really good friends. But I gladly will adopt her as a cousin.
Yes. Cousin, sister, any of
that. That's right.
That's good.
Good times.
And Claudia.
Rickwin is here.
Cindy is here. Cheryl is here. Blaze, of course, is here. Rebecca, Rickwin, like you said. Mary Holt is here. Howdy.
Hello. Sing it.
Let's see. Sing It is here. Yay. And so Sarah Jo is here and Miriam is here. All right. So we're going to get into all of the news and the details about Ketopalooza.
Yes.
Which you were at and I was not. When I went on my Saturday live, I had a comment saying, I expected this live to be from Lindsay's shoulder.
So listen, I got a bone to pick with you. I got a real big bone to pick with you. How could you possibly go live without me?
Oh, I know. It was hard, but hey, you went to Ketopalooza without me, so.
Not without trying really hard to get you there too. I was sitting there whenever you were like, oh, these flights. And I was like, maybe I can find one. And then we could go together. And then I was thinking, what if you what if you flew into Ohio
I
and
looked
then
at that
I swung
too.
through and I collected you? Like I had all of the thoughts in my head. I was like, we can make this work. And this was that. And I wasn't saying the things out loud because I was just afeared that like if I said it out loud, it just wouldn't happen. So if I said
Yeah.
it inside my body, it would come to
Yes.
fruition. There was just no way. Those airplane tickets were
Crazy.
nuts.
Yeah.
And just like
And
the
I was like,
timing.
red-eye flight, be there for 2 days, red-eye flight home, like, I'm gonna die. Like, that's terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
it would've still been fun, but
It would have been a blast. And I will say, it was very empty, like on one side or the other, like being able to be like, oh, there's Nili. And we could just chat it up and
I know, like,
blah.
check it out. Yeah, and we're such a pair, you know, it's like, who's gonna talk to just one of us? Like, that's
I know. We're
that
like
doesn't
a
seem
total
right.
dynamic duo.
Yeah, so we decided never again. We'll never do another conference without each other.
That's
That's
right. But it is our heart's desire to do one of the Keto Chow meetups at some point, but bring the whole families, like
yes.
kids, goats, chickens,
Yes.
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I just
And
added the goats and the
also
chickens for
then pick up the
funsies.
chickens home with you, so, you know, you have your pet chickens, like, it'll all be good.
It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, that would be so fun. We're gonna do that. We have to, like, sit down our husbands, get it penciled into the calendar.
Oh gosh. And you gotta write that in a really light pencil with my husband's schedule because
Me
it
too.
just like changes on a dime.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
But
Okay, did you buy anything for Amazon, not Prime Day, but sort of Prime Day?
no, I haven't actually.
Did you know about this?
I knew about it,
The
but to be
day
honest with you, I've kind of gotten into this place where I'm like, you know what? I get real excited about all the things, right? But then I wind up wanting to buy all the things, and then I do it because I'm like, oh, it's a good deal. But then it's like, is it really? Is it just extra things for me? And right now, I don't need anything replenished.
Mhm.
So I decided, if something amazing jumps out at me, I'll consider it.
Okay. So
But
I ordered some stuff yesterday, not
yeah.
much, but, it came already today, so I was gonna
Whoa.
show you, this is, like, the most important thing that maybe you'll wanna jump on and order, although maybe you won't because of anyways, you'll see.
Because while we're the same, we are also not identical. Yay.
The
That's
Wagyu beef
awesome.
tallow is on sale, for a few dollars off, you know, it's like
Yeah.
probably not as great of a sale as they want you to think, but it's something.
Sure.
But
Sure.
you just rendered a ton of tallow, and I should be rendering my own tallow as well, but I was like, I'm just gonna order it.
So, fun fact, I heard okay, so yesterday we had activities in town and we had to divide and conquer yesterday. So Jared took two kids and I took one kid. We parted ways and I decided, you know what? I haven't gotten in a walk in forever. Keto Palooza, I walked a ton
Mhm.
because like our hotel, we didn't stay at the Galt house where it was hosted. We stayed off property. And so I had to walk and I was like, just getting out and walking in the cool air. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying every minute of it. I need to get back into that habit here at home. And I thought, what better way? Even if I can only sit here and walk this like dead end loop, like back and forth and back and forth, at least I'm out in the fresh air and doing something. And so I popped out and I saw that Chris and Miriam were live over on their channel. So I like popped in some headphones and I
Mm.
got to walk in. And I couldn't really comment a whole lot, but I did hear them discuss how the Wagyu tallow was on sale. And then you mentioned the like spray tallow was
Yeah.
also part of the situation.
Yeah,
So
it had like a $3 off coupon, at least on mine. Those coupons, are always so random, like, you
they
can
do
never tell if
seem
it's gonna be for
inconsistent.
yeah, so I got one of them for $3 off, so it made it $11.99, which is still
Ooh.
expensive for a cooking spray, but it's Wagyu tallow, so it's
Yeah. And they have those little pump style aerosol cans, but they're not aerosol. You like,
yes,
you
yes,
know,
yes.
pump
The
them.
what were they called?
I
I
don't
have
remember. I
any
do know that they would work well to begin with, and then they would
Yes.
not work
Yes.
well to carry on. But I didn't know how well that would work with the tallow. Like if you
Yeah.
rendered down tallow, like could you possibly make it into an aerosol? Kind of.
I
But
feel like you'd have to heat it every time
yeah,
because
that was my thought too,
quality.
is that it's gonna re-solidify.
I
So
don't know what they do to the tallow to be in the spray because it stays liquid. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. There's no other ingredients on
there's
there.
got to be some process that breaks some bonds so it
Yeah.
doesn't re-solidify.
I know, like, for it's kind of, the same thing with coconut oil versus MCT oil,
Right.
and you've seen, bottles where it's like liquid coconut oil, and it just has extra MCTs or something in it to make it stay liquid, so,
Right.
there's gotta be something
Right.
that they do like that, but hopefully not anything
Yeah.
too weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the as I choke on my own spit, that's gross. The idea of being able to like have an aerosol can style or a spray can style of the beef tallow is really cool.
Yeah.
Um, but I've also discovered that just keeping my like current jar usage situation right there next to it and just pulling out a little silicone basting brush, that works
Mhm.
out pretty well, or a little
Yeah,
spoon. So
yeah.
the spray though would be really handy for situations like whenever you're trying to spray like the bun pans, the mesh bun pans,
Yes,
and
yes.
but I'm gonna let it go. That's what's gonna happen this time.
Alright, Rickwin said oh, where'd it go? That, she's trying to talk herself out of a dehydrator. Why would you do
Don't talk
that?
yourself
Don't
out
do
of it, Rick
that.
Wynn.
We're gonna talk you into it.
It's so I
As long as you have
made
space for it, as long as you have the finances for it, you know.
finances, space, all of that. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I made I tried out making Joe's bacon jerky in the oven the way Joe does it. You know, like
Mhm.
whenever he released that bacon jerky video, it wasn't like a few days later that you released your dehydrator version of it.
Yeah, so
And
I
so
filmed it before I saw their video, I'll have you know, and
I
I was
believe,
like, "What
yeah,
is in the water right now? Bacon
I
jerky?
know.
Both of us?"
Well, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give the oven a try first because I'm
Mhm.
up here. I want to be able to observe it, and I
Easier.
do want to be able to render that little bit of fat that will drip out. So
Yes.
that's what I did, and it never really got jerky like. And
Mhm,
okay, Jared used to work for a jerky brand,
mhm.
and the bacon jerky was something that people often were like, this is just kind of like meh. It's just like limp chewiness. It's not really like,
Oh.
it's not really like true jerky. And so I did it with thick cut bacon, and it was kind of like, that's okay. And then when he and I were talking about it this weekend at Keto Palooza, he said, you got to do it in the dehydrator. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
I guess I will do it Neely's way instead.
Yeah.
That
I
will
think
help.
they did it on the smoker too, which that's gonna be amazing.
Well, the thing
If I
is
could do
like
that, I would.
the smoker, I feel like it would impart way too much smoky flavor into such a small piece of meat if you kept it on the smoker the entire time.
Mhm.
I feel like you would have to do it
Still
for
going
just like
to try it.
now, I also didn't put any kind of like seasoning or any kind of anything. I just did the thick cut Wright's bacon,
Yeah.
laid it on my trays, and I've got these awesome cookie sheets that have little like perfectly sized grates in them
Ah,
that are
yes,
like,
yes. I
like
love
the
those.
grid style. So it was
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic. And so I laid them on that so that they would have more flow. But I figured out
Mhm.
also that my convection oven does not go convection style at 200 degrees Fahrenheit,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a sadness. So,
That is sad.
but anyway, let's answer some comments and then get into the thick of it.
The thick of it.
Oh,
Let's
I
see.
was going to say the
Miriam wants a
dehydrator.
freeze starter. Okay.
Jared, there's this recipe that I follow kind of that is for cereal, for a high protein cereal. And I've kind of modified it and tweaked it here and there. But anyway, I use my dehydrator whenever we crisp it up in order to like make it shelf stable. And I wound up doing something slightly different, and I figured out a way to kind of play around and make a biscotti. and used the dehydrator for that. So I feel like having a dehydrator in general is just a valuable piece of kitchen equipment.
Yeah. Well, and
So
if you get one that's big enough, you can proof bread. You can
yeah.
ferment yogurt, although I've heard some people say that you don't want to do it in a dehydrator for some reason, like, but I haven't confirmed that. Anyways, but there's so many different things you can do with the dehydrator beyond
Yeah,
just, dehydrating jerky and stuff.
absolutely.
All
It's a good tool.
right. What questions? Chris Bear is here giving us the details on liquid coconut oil. You can take out the longer fatty acid chains like C12 plus and
Ah,
yep, genius.
nerd.
Exactly. And I like that. I
We
mean,
appreciate it.
that feels like a more legit way of, messing with the oil to get what you want rather than like hydrogenation process and things
Right.
like very industrial. I mean, not that I know how to take out a fatty acid chain from coconut oil, but I'm hoping that the end product is still more like in the natural realm.
Yeah. I I appreciate that knowledge.
Yes.
Little nugget of
Let's see.
information.
So Miriam says chaffles or corn dogs. I want a freeze dryer. I don't know what the chaffles or corn dogs is referring back to,
Oh,
but
let's scroll.
they sound great. Yeah. Let's see. Miriam ordered the Wagyu tallow last night on the live stream. That was fantastic. Glad I could share that. Actually, me and Lynette posted in the chat at the same time, basically, that the Wagyu tallow was on special. So I said, "Ding!"
Winning.
Yeah, all the important information. All right. Ooh. Okay, what? I don't understand this one. I get an inordinate amount of silent snickering when YouTube creators without coordinating. Happen to release videos on the same subject at nearly the same time. Yeah, there is something like in the air that just happens. Lindsay, are you frozen? I think Lindsay is frozen, but at least she looks very happy. Yeah, Chris Bear, I agree with you. There's no such thing as too much smoky flavor. Fake news. Yeah. Well, okay. So Chris Bear, Lindsay has said that she does not care for Redmond smoked salt. So clearly there's something like the problem is not with the smoky. The problem is with Lindsay. Just putting that out there. And Lindsay's gone. I'm sure she'll come back though. Yes. Let's see. My Instant Pot never comes off my countertop because I'm always making more El Ruderai yogurt in it. Yes. Yes. I have a batch of El Ruderai yogurt in the fridge right now, but I'm coming to the end, so I'm really gonna need to start making. Oh, let me let Lindsay back in. I'm gonna need to start making more soon. You're back.
Hello. I have no idea what happened.
Interesting. Well, you looked very happy in your frozen
Okay.
state.
And
Lindsay is very happy frozen.
and now I have none of the past chat from the point whenever it kicked me out until I'm back and
Oh
good gravy.
no.
Good
Well,
gravy.
Chris said there's no such thing as too much smoky flavor. That's fake news. And I said, just, for context, Lindsay does not like the Redmond smoke salt.
Well, I mean, it's not that I
that
don't.
tells you something right there.
It's not even that I don't like it. It's that I have to use it sparingly to appreciate the flavor, more or less.
There can be too much smoky flavor.
Right.
Other people just don't have that same opinion.
Right. But I also lack the ability to determine if something is too bitter. So that to me is like, oh, there's never anything that's too bitter. It's all great.
Interesting. I definitely have tasted too bitter.
I know Jared tells me often, like, oh, that tastes really bitter. And I'm like, but does it?
Yeah.
I can't tell.
Let's see.
I'm missing a lot of
Natalie.
these comments, so I don't
Yes,
know.
I will put up the relevant comments.
Excellent.
We were talking about El Ruderai yogurt. Rickwin said that her Instant Pot never came off the counter because she's always making another batch of
I
El
tell you
Ruderai
what,
yogurt.
one of the funny things I think whenever you put out content on the internet is that you get really excited about a thing and you do that thing and
Mhm.
then you get excited about the next thing. And so the initial thing sort of takes a back seat to the point where it's like it just keeps scooting back in your brain for priority's sake and you wind up not doing it hardly at all because you're so focused on like the future actions and whatnot. So it's really hard. I have not made El Ruderai yogurt in probably 3 months.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are so many things, and they're all good and they're all wonderful, and they all have a group of people behind them that say it's the only thing and the best thing. It's like, ugh, yeah, I
I mean,
can't do so many best things all the time.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like doing collagen in my coffee. That used to be like an every single cup of coffee thing. And that must have been like, what are we it must have been back in like 2016. I was obsessed. And I still use custom collagen brand when I want like volume of collagen, but I also still use the keto collagen from Perfect Keto, but it's one of those things where it's like I don't I don't use it on a every single day type of
Right.
a basis. And
Yes.
then, there were times when I would just use the MCT oil powder, like for everything. And then it's like, okay, that kind of fades a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just this ebb and flow of trying to use different things because they give you some sort of value. And it's
Right.
hard to make it all balance.
Yeah, well, so as far as like us as creators and affiliates of different companies, I like the way we have it set up like as affiliates because there's no requirement. Like I'm
Yes.
not required to, talk about keto chow 5 times a month or else I, lose my status or whatever. It's like we are allowed to
Do
live
daily life.
and use it as we use it and talk about it as we want to talk about it, and then I mean it's not as forced, and so I feel like it just fits into our lives a little bit better. So I love that kind of affiliate relationship where we get to benefit, the company gets to benefit, but it's not like forced and weird.
Right. And it's one of those things like I like the affiliate way because of the fact that it's when I'm using product that I'm actually using, like I can share this in the real time moment. I'm actually
Exactly.
making this keto chow.
Yeah.
I'm actually using this perfect keto collagen. I'm
Yes.
actively doing these things. It's not just sort of like a how do I make it fit? It's more or less like this is already here
Yeah.
and I'm
Talk
going to
about
just share.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Miriam was talking about how she uses the cooking spray, corn dogs, chaffles, like, so
Oh,
it all makes sense now. Genius. I love it.
I tell you what, I feel like Miriam is like one of those ninja funny people because she'll say things and it's like the sweetest thing on the planet. And you're like, wait a minute, that was like ninja funny.
Yeah.
That is
I love Miriam.
fantastic.
She's so funny. So fantastic. Okay, so Cindy says that I was missed at Keto Palooza, which I feel that in my heart because I missed Keto Palooza myself.
Not she didn't miss Lindsay. She just missed the KPLs. That's fine. So.
Well, I mean, you're involved, like you're part of it. You're part of it. Anyways, so we should talk about Keto Palooza and your experience because we must know all of the
We
things.
must know. Okay,
You're living the hype.
first of all, if you are in the chat right now, I would love for you to say like a hand wave or something like that. I went to KPL. We want to know how many of y'all were at KPL, Keto Palooza in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, so are we going to do this interview style where you ask me like questions to steer the
Okay.
conversation, or am I just going to like?
So Joe and Rachel always say, if you go to Keto Palooza and you don't come away with a friend, it's on you. Did you come away with a friend?
Well, I certainly went in with friends. And then I just got to solidify those friendships by meeting a lot of them face to face.
Yeah, I bet that was amazing. So we met, a lot of people at KetoCon, which are all wonderful and fantastic and
That's right.
like the funnest to hang out with ever. And then, so who did you meet new that you had not met before at KetoCon?
Okay, I'm going to struggle with this because names
Yes.
are for real not my strong suit.
And just like as a disclaimer, she'll probably forget somebody and it's not because she doesn't like them. It's just because brains.
Yeah, like so many people. And it was one of those things where I was so busy just like trying to focus on like what the story was. And I didn't sit there and repeat people's names to myself like 6 and 7 times and in the moment. And I already struggle with names in general. So for me, it was more or less like I can see their faces and I can see what happened, like, like remember the story kind of things, but to plug a name to it is just not where my brain is. And
Yes.
so I got to meet one of the ladies. She was in Tennessee, and she was telling me her story about how she like did keto in 2018 or so, and kind of like needed to get back on it. She had tried Atkins like early on in the Atkins like surge of stuff, and just like getting to hear her story about how she had improved her life and she was trying to really get back into the swing of things, and she dealt with lipedema, not lymphedema, lipedema, I believe. And it's also like super loud in the KPL with like everybody having their conversations. So my ears struggled to hear some of these things. I got to meet one lady who had homeschooled her kids through the end, and we were just talking about different stuff in general, and I fully enjoyed like being able to talk about homeschooling stuff for a little bit. Another lady, her name was Michelle. This one I'm about to talk about, her name was Michelle. She got to, she was able to maneuver through airports so much more easily because she had started a keto lifestyle. She was precious. I got to meet Ready Set Keto, Emily and James, and their son Noah. I got to meet the Crosses, which I had never heard of them before, but they husband and wife team. I don't think they YouTube. I think that they are just like part of the keto community at large.
Okay.
They were a lot of fun. We got to play a fun game. I got to meet Sabrina from Kokomo, Indiana. That was really cool. There was another couple there who have a YouTube channel, Partners in Ketosis, Anna and Chris. Ha, I did it. That's amazing. I did not expect to pull that out of my hat. I got to meet Autumn. I got to hang out a little bit with Richard. Oh my word. I feel like Richard is who I want to be when I grow up.
They're hilarious.
He's just like so over the top energetic. And Autumn, she's energetic, but in a very much so like, let's also get the things done.
Yeah,
and I'm like, are you Jared and me? Just like I'm Richard and
that's hilarious.
That was really cool.
Partners in Ketosis are here.
Oh well, hi guys.
Yay.
So who else? I feel like there were so I got to meet Swilson, Stephanie. I got to meet her. I got to meet so many people. It was really cool. And I feel like if there were more people like, I got to meet Dawn Does Keto and her husband Mike. Just Jason
Keto?
Yes, just Jason Keto and more. Is that right?
As far as I know, it's just Jason Keto.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
I got to meet
just Jason Keto and more.
Well, I don't know, but now I feel compelled to dig in.
Maybe, I was on one of his live streams or interview videos once. That was fun. So did you meet Dustin Keto Simple?
I did. I got to meet Dustin. Awesome. I feel vindicated
because Chandra wasn't there because I feel like he would be the funnest to hang out with.
Absolutely. Ever. Okay, so I got to show you. It does say just Jason Keto and more.
And more. Wow. All right.
Ha, I am
I mean,
winning.
it doesn't really work. Just and more. Just put it into my brain.
Rick once said he added and more to his channel.
Okay. All right. So I'm not crazy.
There was another guy. Gosh, I couldn't remember his like actual name. I think his channel name was Keto with Me Now.
Okay.
So I got to meet him. I got to meet just so many people, and it was just really cool being able to like say or have these people come up to me and say like, "I watch your channel." And I was just like, "Me? You
Great.
watch me?" That is so cool. But then be able to say like, okay, these people can see me and how I'm doing things, but now I get to see what they are doing. Like I get to listen to what their stories are. So that was really cool. And of
Yeah.
course, Cindy was there. I got to hang out with Miss Cindy.
I saw a picture, I think, of you and Karen from Southern Ketovore.
Yeah. So Karen and her sister-in-law, Angie. Oh my
Nice.
gosh. I really enjoyed sitting there listening to Angie because she doesn't do the YouTubes.
Ah,
I think she just said that she does Instagram and she just kind of like shares her
okay.
food for accountability, I guess. And so I got to sit down and listen to her story. And it's like, you think that your life has a lot of stress on it in general. You know, like every person carries a load, but it's one of those things where you can fully appreciate just how difficult trying to seek out your own health can be when you see how difficult it is for these other people in different situations and scenarios. So
Yeah.
it's like you really develop a strong appreciation for just how tenacious people can be and um just how much like compassion that we can all have for one another and grace that we can have toward one another when it's like we are all dealing with a lot of things trying to figure out how to be as healthy as possible so that we can live life to its fullest. And it was just really cool. Really, really cool.
That's awesome. Okay, so like nitty-gritty details, comparing like the schedule to KetoCon. Like
Uh-huh.
KetoCon, like there's the speaker schedule and then there's the floor where you wander around and look at all the booths and stuff. Like what was
Mhm.
different about Ketopalooza? Because I heard you say some things about games and then
Okay, sure.
food. Like what's that? What was that all about?
Okay, so I did take some footage and I'm in the process of trying to like sift through the footage. It really wasn't a lot and there's not a whole lot of me talking to the camera, but more or less just like showing the environment in which we were. And so I'm really having to sort of like piece through and put some story to it so it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I will be hopefully coming out with that video within
Good.
the next week or two. I'd rather be done with it like tomorrow, but that's just unrealistic. But so you first got there and you got registered and you got this bag full of goodies, like tons of things, and they were hefty. And both Jared and I like had a ticket. So the way things worked for us, we left on Friday right around lunchtime to drive down to Louisville. And Jared stayed with the girls at the hotel, like they went swimming and did some other adventure type things. I went to the Galt house for the actual deal and I registered or I got signed in for both him and I. So I was having to carry two of these things. They were hefty, hefty, hefty. So and then there was a lot of people just kind of like hanging around and chatting it up. And then there were two rooms. There was the ballroom where like the majority of events occurred, and then there was a smaller room connected that's kind of like the expo hall kind of.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of comparison between like the size of the space for KetoCon, I would say that the vendor expo space was like the physical room was probably a tenth of the size,
Okay.
and there were only like maybe 8 vendors or less
Okay.
total, so very, very, very small in that respect. So it was a lot less about here's all of our products, here's all of our
Mhm.
stuff and
Mhm.
things, and you know, you're here to come and like buy all of the things. It
Mhm.
was more or less like, here's some of the really targeted, like, we really like what these people are doing kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so
um,
Keto Chow was there, like, what other vendors were
Keto Chow was there. Our friend Jonathan Shane from
yes,
Performance
yeah.
Gains, he was there. Had a blast hanging out with that kid. Gosh, what was that?
Gotta call him kid.
He
Rub it
is a
in.
kid. I mean, when we're old enough to have been his babysitters, he's a kid.
Yeah, that's true.
So there was them. There was Keto Brains as well. And that's something that Rachel, she seems to be like over the moon about. So
No.
I've got some thoughts.
Yeah.
And um, who else was there? There was another vendor that had like some real foods stuff. Autumn had her t-shirt booth set up, and then Keto Chow was like the very broad selection there. And
Yeah.
then there were like a couple of like rotating booths. So whenever a speaker would have like their book, so like Dr. Boz,
Ah,
after she spoke, she had one of the tables set up with like her books, and the line for Dr. Boz to talk to her after her presentation was for ages long. It was
okay.
pretty wild.
Yeah.
So Dr. Barry wrote a book with
Zane Grey.
Zane. I was thinking Kane. That's not it.
Close.
So Zane was there, and he stayed
Ah,
at a booth for a long time with their new book, about what you do after you're 50.
yeah.
And so it was kind of funny because he reminds me a lot of Hugh Jackman.
Oh, I can see it. Yeah,
And
I
it
can
was just one of
totally
those
see
things
it.
where it was just like he just kind of had the angular face for it, and he had the right hair for it. It was definitely entertaining.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
and then what's funny is that Keel over at Keto Brains, he sat there and talked with us for a little bit. And as he was talking, I was like, you remind me of Rob Lowe. Like, not even just like your face looks like Rob Lowe, but also your cadence, your facial expressions, just the timbre of your voice, like all of it, all of it. I was like, are you just a shorter version of Rob Lowe?
That's hilarious.
Did you just like, are you Rob Lowe? I can't.
That's hilarious.
That
Yeah,
was entertaining.
Keto Brains was at KetoCon, and I never made it to that booth. I don't know what the deal is.
We both failed on that front, and I
Totally
feel
failed.
like at Keto Con there were so many things to like work your way all the way through. There were so many vendors, so many there were so many things, just like it was sensory overload, and there were so many sessions for presenters, speakers, all of those things, the panels for the
And they went
Q&A
on at
type
the
stuff.
same time. There was like
And
the
they
breakout session,
did. They
and then
did.
you had to choose which one you wanted, which was oftentimes very difficult.
It's like, why can't we just like go through and be like, okay, well, I want to see Dr. Stork talk about the teeth, and I want to see Dr. Boz talk about the things, and I want to see. Can we make all of those just be
Just
sequential?
KetoCon a week long. Just go to them all.
That sounds great.
We just do that.
But the really cool thing about Keto Palooza was the fact that you didn't have to make decisions on that
I
front.
love that.
So it
Anytime
was
I don't have to make a decision, this is my favorite.
right. So Saturday there was like the game session thing where it was kind of like the icebreaker deal, people playing different little like table card games, Uno, Phase 10, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And they had a whole bunch of like little popsicle sticks with different conversation starters on the table. But really it wound up just being like everybody trying to, just like catch up with all the people that they possibly could.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
like
that was really neat.
hang out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then there at 7:00 was like the actual meetup, which was more of like a hangout period of time. And also we got to play Name That Tune with
Fun.
teams.
I saw
And
your husband was commenting about meeting some fun people there.
oh, is Jared on here?
I saw a comment from him, and now I don't see it.
Oh, there he is. He
You see
met some folks, including Karen, Christina, and Virginia at Name That Song
it?
competition. So he's much better at remembering the names. Oh oh, speaking of a Karen, I also got to meet Dr. Tony Hampton and his
Okay.
wife Karen, and she is a hoot and a half. I love her. There would be moments whenever someone would mention something that would be like the start of a song lyric, and both of us would instantly start singing it.
On the
It
same
was
wave. Yeah,
fantastic. It
Tony
was
seems like such a cool guy.
they are. I really love them.
That's
So
awesome.
that was a moment. But
That's awesome.
so yeah, Friday night was just hanging out. The food was really good. There was carne asada, there was cauli rice, there were like sauteed peppers and onions and things.
Wow. So
Um,
did they serve meals the whole
Not the whole time. Friday night and
Friday
brunch
weekend?
on Sunday morning. Those were the two
Okay.
meals. Um, and you know, it was good stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Um, and then there was the Name That Tune game, which was really fun. And then obviously you go back to your spot and you go to bed. I'm sure other people who were at the Galt house probably stayed a lot longer or hung
Mhm.
out a lot later. But you know, for us it was like, well, we've got the children's and we're tired. The next morning they opened up the vendor hall. I thought it wasn't opening until like 8:30, but I think it may have opened up at 8. But
Wow.
so the keto chow booth was overrun with everybody wanting to try the
Oh, yeah.
butterscotch flavor and just get some. I think that they had like a limit of maybe 5 packets of butterscotch. And I don't remember if it was Holly or Chris who mentioned to me like they brought 200, but they sold 414 packets of butterscotch.
Wow. That's
Oh my goodness. It was like, whoa. I mean, it's a really amazing flavor
good.
and everybody gobbled it up. So that was really cool to see. And you know, it was a lot of fun just to kind of like chat with the vendors, to chat with everybody. Two Crazy Ketos started off the presentation sort of continuum for the day,
Mhm.
and I just love the fact that they don't repeat presentations
Oh,
and they
that's
are always able, you know, like how I do a lot of analogies. I feel
mm.
like they are able to take analogies and expand them
Ah,
to like infinite boundaries. It's amazing. And so that was really cool. I don't know if they're going to put their presentation on their channel or not. I know they were recording. So I'm not going to spoil that because, you
I
know, that's
saw like a 12-minute clip from the keto chow live stream. I tried to put those words together.
you did. You tried real hard, real
My
hard.
brain just helps me out so much.
Right. So, yeah, I know Miriam, she was like trying to get snippets, or like
Yeah,
live
that
stream
was
some
fun.
of it here and there. And that seemed to have kept her like super busy.
Yeah.
um, so there was that. And then I cannot quite remember his name. Oh, here it is in the chat. Dr. Lowry, he spoke
Okay.
next. Maria Emmerich threw out Hawaiian egg bread rolls to everybody. Like, I don't know how many she had, but she just
You get
kept
a
tossing them.
roll, and you get a
That's right.
roll.
That's right. that
Everybody
was
gets a roll.
that was really entertaining. She didn't bring enough for everybody, but she did toss out rolls, which livened up the experience
Oh,
to
that's
get
funny.
her presentation kickstarted. And then Dr. Tony Hampton was up. He had a really interesting presentation. I didn't stay in for the complete presentation for anybody
Mm.
because there was also a lot of people who were just like milling around the expo area or in
Mhm.
the sort of like the entry space for just like chatting it up and hanging out and just like, you know,
Yeah,
connecting. And
yeah.
so that was really fun and really cool. Dr. Boz, she came, she was, you know, she is so classy
Oh
and she
gosh,
just looked so cool.
classy.
She wore a Harley jacket with like this super cute boho dress and
Oh,
her boots. And I was like, I can only hope that I can be as cool as Dr. Boz when I grow up.
I don't even have that hope for myself.
Oh my gosh, she's precious. I really love Dr. Boz.
Yeah, she's
Um, And then, oh, Kim Howerton talked about like how like your focus on diet is probably your problem. And I
Yes.
love Kim's pragmatic approach to life.
Yes.
Like it's no nonsense. We're not here for fluffies. We
No.
are here for like nitty gritty. You may not be doing the right thing for your body, even though you think you're doing the right thing for your body. So it was really, really cool to like get to connect with her a little bit. Was Dr. Barry after that, or was there somebody else in the middle? Yeah, Dr. Barry. So his was all about, I got hair on my arm. His was all about just a question and answer time. So Autumn got up there and was like, hey, so if you've got questions, we're going to try to keep it to one question with one follow-up question per person and try to
Don't
give the
tell your life
relevant
story.
yeah, give the relevant information and leave the rest behind.
Yeah.
so so they, he worked his way through a lot of questions, and I spent a lot of time talking with Steve over at Keto Chow because I really didn't have any questions, and it was one of those things where it's like I also really want to hang out with the Keto Chow peoples.
Yeah.
So I did that.
It's like, the speakers, it's great to listen to them live. It's like a fun experience, but you're like, I can listen to 12 of their talks on YouTube at home. I can't just go
Yeah.
out and hang out with all the people and chat it up. So it's a good
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. I know Joe and I got to sit there talking for a while about
Nice.
and I love the fact that like we can have conversations that are not keto centric, but just life centric.
Yeah.
And he was talking to me about, like what it's like being a parent of adult children, or, like doing all of these different things. Steve, it was fun to talk to him about the fact that like he really wanted to build this specific kind of car, and Holly was a little bit hesitant to allow it. We created a ruckus in the middle of the expo hall that will be on my video once I finally get that out. But overall, it was super fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Jared is
all kinds of talks in the chat.
all kinds of things. I think that Jared, he really missed not being able to be there full time with Chris.
Yeah,
I think that was like one of those things. Chris really missed Jared. I know that much. And I think Jared unspokenly missed Chris just as much.
Well, I miss Chris too, so
yeah. He's very reclusive. It's hard to get to come out of his shell. And so it's kind of like a rare sighting when you can spend moments with Chris.
And he never talks about anything technical or interesting or anything like that.
No, he just doesn't really like add much to the conversation at all. So
no, not really. Oh dear, here we go. All right. Okay, what were the goodies? Sing It wants to know. What's in the bag?
I haven't gone through it.
You do an unbagging video then.
So that's the thing. That's my plan, is to add that into the whole like video experience. But I'm trying to so I didn't really dig through the bag. I know that there was a big giant bottle of vanilla syrup from Chalk Zero.
Whoa.
And that was, definitely a massive piece to the weight of the bag. And then there were lots of other things. There was a t-shirt. Everybody on Sunday wore their t-shirts, which was really cool. I thought it was interesting too. When, so Autumn and her Keto Strong company, like she made everybody a t-shirt. And if you wanted it to say something on the back, you got your whatever on the back.
Wow.
And, so you could choose between 3 colors, black, red, or white, which were like the Keto Palooza colors. And I thought it was fascinating. Like so many people, like tons of people chose black, tons of people chose red. I want to say only Dawn Does Keto and her husband, Mike, chose white.
Oh, interesting.
I could be wrong. I could be way wrong. But I was like, I don't see anybody choosing a white shirt. Is that because everybody knows that they are messy? That was my reasoning for choosing. I chose a red one for me and a black one for Jared. And it was like, I know we're going to spill on these things, or at least I'm going to spill on mine. And I'd rather not. I just would
Yeah.
rather not have all of the mess.
Yeah, I've
So
always wondered why companies make children's clothes in white.
I
Like, it
know
just shouldn't happen.
it
I mean,
shouldn't.
it shouldn't happen for me as well, but especially for children.
Yeah. 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 I mean, like I did wear white jeans on Saturday all day, but I was able to stay clean. I was utterly shocked.
Nice job. I'm so
the
proud of you.
the brunch on Sunday was all the bacon you could possibly fathom, plus all the eggs, all scrambled eggs,
Wow.
and a bunch of cauli rice to sort of like, give yourself a flavor breakup. But
Yeah.
there was
I have some
all the bacon.
vegetables or else it's not healthy.
So good. And the other
Everyone
cool
just knows
thing,
that, so
right? So on Sunday, you got in, you ate your brunch, and Autumn, she kind of went through and gave you a little bit of the history of KPL, how it came to be. That was really cool to hear.
Mhm.
Everybody kind of hung out. Everybody got to just like enjoy one another's company. There was that walk. There was the 4K walk,
Oh,
4K,
yeah.
4.5 mile walk. I don't remember the exact length of the walk. I chose not to do that.
Nope.
With having children in a hotel room, that they travel super well. They really do. However, it usually takes a couple days to assimilate into everybody sleeping in the same space at all the same time.
Mhm.
And my two big girls were super giggly, and the little one was like super tired. So sleep on Friday night was a little bit touch and go, and then sleep was better on Saturday night, but not better enough to encourage me to get out there and do the big walk in the morning. And so I was like, you know what, it's okay not to do everything.
It is
It
okay.
is a-okay. um
Okay. So what was the packet that you had that Rachel likes?
okay. So on Saturday I went through all the booths. Well, not all the booths, that's a lie. I did not make it over to that one booth that had the food that I cannot recall off the top of my head. Dag nabbit. Okay, so this is Keto Brains, and it is a nootropic creamer for your coffee. And this was the sample pack. They actually had these sample packs at Keto Palooza that are approximately 3 servings worth. Now, Rachel loves these things, swears
Mhm.
by it. She has some in her coffee every day, she says. Now, this is, let's see the ingredient list. MCT oil powder, coconut milk powder, lion's mane, alpha GPC, and L-theanine. Those are the ingredients for here. It's funny because on the very, very bottom it says other ingredients, none. And you can't see that very well.
Nice.
Is none. Okay, so I got some and I went ahead and I ordered, or I paid, or I bought the full size bag as well, which should have approximately 30 servings in it.
Okay.
Because the objective here is to give yourself some ketones and to help with brain function. That's
Oh, I
sort
don't
of like what, huh?
I don't need that. I'm good. No.
My question is, will it help your brain function if you don't have one?
Oh, yeah. That that would be difficult.
So, okay,
Um,
refocusing.
okay, come on. Use that brain you got.
So the nootropics are supposed to help you with your brain function, give you some MCTs that will also help with brain function. So
Yes.
I decided to go ahead and buy a big bag of it and try it out. Now, Keel over at their booth, aka Rob Lowe lookalike,
Mhm.
he said that most people feel something different. They feel like their brains function a little bit better within the first use. So three uses approximately in this, depending on how creamy you want your coffee.
So you've not
So
tasted it yet.
uh, we're
Okay,
getting there.
sorry.
Okay. So So I got this and I bought the full size bag just so that I could give it a longer period of time to try out, because it also was less expensive there at Keto Palooza. Obviously, they're not having to ship it, so you get a little bit of savings there.
Mhm.
And so I went ahead and I tried this for the first time yesterday. Let's keep in mind, or let's have some context. I don't care for coconut milk. I don't care for coconut flavored things. I don't care for the coconut in general. I will use coconut flour and like some of the like liquid coconut milks in the refrigerator section. I can tolerate in other things as the liquid, but in general, coconut is not my favorite flavor. Went ahead and I tried it. The positives, it's not sweet.
Mhm.
And it blended up beautifully in my coffee. So
Mhm.
there was no floating, there was no chunkiness. It was a really smooth texture, and it definitely creamed the coffee very well. The drawback for me is that it tastes like coconut to me.
Mhm.
So I tried it like that, and I decided that I would not do it in my coffee, but I added it to a keto chow
Oh,
as a keto chow hot chocolate. Now, this is not supposed to, it doesn't mix very beautifully into cold liquid,
okay.
but warm to hot liquid, it mixes very beautifully. So I made a keto hot chocolate, or a keto chow hot chocolate today,
Mhm.
and I mixed another serving of this into it, and it was much less detectable
Okay, cool.
for my taste. But I also drink black coffee.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's one of those things. So for my personal preference,
Okay.
mixing it into other hot beverages is going to be my path in order to get the benefits from it and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I have to say this caveat. I ordered Athletic Greens hoping to do a 30-day trial with it, and I only got to like day 12 or so.
Yeah.
And then I failed. So my
Mhm.
hope is to do a full month trial with Keto Brains just to sort of see what the impact is.
Yeah.
But I'm also willing to scrap it if like life gets out of hand.
Okay. So, how did you feel after you tried it? Because you've had it at least once.
I've had it a total of twice now. I
Yeah.
felt so much more, this is going to sound interesting. I felt so much more tolerant of my children's
Oh,
meltdowns.
no, that sounds good. Maybe I'll order some.
Yeah, it's one of
It,
those.
like, calmed your nerves?
It definitely, yeah, it was like I
Mm.
was able to receive what they were saying and tell them, let's try that again, instead of just like, you're not supposed to do these things. It
Mhm.
was more like, let's start over. I'm going to give you a do-over on that.
Amazing.
Yeah, so thus far that is what I have noticed.
Okay, that's positive.
So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'll have to
Let's
try it.
see.
It's been on my list of something to try, but I just have not gotten around to it, and I'm bummed that I didn't do it at KetoCon because that was silly.
I know. But I did really enjoy Keel, and I can't remember who was there with
So,
him in the booth. Huh?
Miriam said that his name is Kyle, but
Oh,
it's spelled Keel. Where did that go? Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
I'm glad you asked him, Miriam, because
I'm
I didn't.
sure that he gets that all the time. Like, coming from someone who has a strange name that no one knows how to pronounce, you get used to it, it's no big deal.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well,
Uh,
and like there's that skincare brand, Kiehl's, and
okay.
it's spelled the same way as
Uh,
Kiehl's.
I mean, that's
So,
what it looks like, so. It's, parents, they just wanna try to make life difficult for their child by naming them something that's not said the way it's spelled.
right?
Like, come on.
Jared's mom, the one thing she said about Jared's name is she loves the name Jared, but she spelled it with two R's, so it looks like jarred sauce. She's like, you could never find his name on stickers anywhere, or like the little keychains that kids always love to have with their
Just
names on it.
royalty jarred? Well, I've never found a keychain or a sticker
With
with my name on it, I'll tell you that right now. Maybe if I went to Israel, I'd get
ah,
a big one.
sounds fantastic.
Okay,
Okay.
let's see. Any other questions? We have been on here about an hour.
And I literally talked
I
the whole
almost just
time.
said year. I almost just said, "We've been on here about a year." And then my brain's really helping me out today, and it caught it right there at the last second.
You need to get some keto brains.
I think that is the only thing I can take away from this. Yes, I get called Nili all the time.
That's
And
funny.
people say, "Nil? Is it Nil?" No.
I'm
Good
not
try.
nothing, okay? I'm not nothing.
Good try. Oh,
Penny says calmness is one of the main benefits.
yes. That we could all use that. Maybe I could just sneak it into, like, my kids' food.
Well, and especially like if you're someone who does not like if you're someone who doesn't notice or doesn't mind or actually enjoys the flavor of coconut,
Yeah.
it definitely will not be a bad thing.
Yeah, and so what I find, like, because 'cause I've gone dairy free a lot of times, and you use a lot of coconut in place of
Yep.
dairy. You go dairy free, at least I do, and I find that when I first go from dairy to the coconut thing, I'm like, "Oh, it tastes like coconut," but then after I just have it normally for a few days, I don't taste the coconut anymore, it just tastes creamy. So,
Oh,
could get used to it, although I don't know if it's dependent on cutting out the other dairy, or if you could just use it every day and you and still have
that sounds like a solid tactic that I will be attempting. Also, I feel like a worm at this moment because S. Swilson, it's not Stephanie. For some reason, I thought it was
Uh-oh.
Stephanie. I remembered Stephanie, but it's Stacy.
Oh,
I'm so sorry, Swilson.
Swilson. We'll just say Swilson.
I'm telling you,
Oh.
names and I are like oil and water. We are not good
Oh,
together.
she says, "I'm always Tracy and Casey instead of Stacy." Yeah, that's funny.
Womp, womp,
Uh,
womp.
okay. Um,
Okay,
anything
we're just reading. We're not
yeah,
like
I know, it's like it's hard to talk and read. We talked about our brains, and sometimes it's hard for brains to read and to talk at the same time, which
it
is,
really is.
um
So Adele here says that she does love keto brains. That's
oh,
fantastic.
awesome. Using them for 2 months, that's great. And,
Very cool.
she's here on our live with us and chatted today, I love that.
We appreciate your input because it's really good to know that like everybody's experience can be somewhat like varied, and so that's why I always try to give the caveats of like context. I don't like coconut,
Mm,
and so I'm trying to find a way to where this is more easily consumable by me because I do want those benefits that the nootropics purport to have. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's good to have other people's perspectives.
that is awesome. Let's see. Um, are you seeing any other questions that we really need to answer before we
I
get off?
don't, but I do know that Jared and Chris have been going back and forth. Jared wants to know whether or not Chris was going to wear Dr. Boz's dress or if he wanted it for Miriam. There was a moment of pullover. No, it is a cardigan, but thanks
Yeah.
for
Oh, yes,
asking.
Marion really liked my cardigan, and thank you very much. I love it too. It's one of my favorites. It's, like, perfect for fall. I
Oh,
got it at Cabela's, and that has become my favorite place to buy clothes.
well,
So
cute
weird.
but practical.
Yeah,
All
and a
in.
little bit country. You know, we live in the country now, I have to look the part. Can't look like I'm out of Portland.
I feel like you could totally pull off the country look in Portland because
You could,
it's
yeah.
all about being, like weird, and
Flannel
a
and
country mouse is totally out of place in a city mouse location.
that's true, that's true. Well, Cabela's. If you don't shop at Cabela's for your clothes, what are you doing with your life? Seriously.
Well, there's no Cabela's near me. I'd have to go into town, and that sounds
Do
like an
you
awful
have
lot of
Bass Pro
effort.
Shop?
We do have Bass Pro,
Is there
and
the
we have an
same
REI,
I
but
think
not here. It's like in
oh,
Columbus.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's are the same.
Are they buddies?
Yeah, they're the same
They're
company.
living under the same umbrella.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Okay.
Anna said that from Partners in Ketosis that they've been trying to catch up after the weekend, and they only just got home yesterday
Oh my
at
god.
1 o'clock. Good grief!
Yeah.
I know that Karen and from Southern ketovore and her sister-in-law Angie, their flight got like pushed back by hours and hours, and they couldn't leave till Monday morning at like the crack of dawn. So I know that a lot of people had a lot longer of a commute time than they anticipated after the Ketopalooza was over.
I honestly do not know how Joe and Rachel pull off all of the traveling that they do, because they like go to one thing and then they turn around and go right to the next thing, and then they're going to like Disney World and everything. I'm like, guys, you got to sit still for half a minute. And then on his their video yesterday, Joe's like, well, now that conference season is over, we have 6 camping trips planned. Wow.
I do think that having it be just the two of them, and being able to like have your home base of your camper where it's set, and you know, you can still cook and things like that and be able to go from place to place. I do think that that might reduce the barrier to entry for the traveling so much.
Children are such a barrier.
I know.
Let me tell you what.
You know, my friends, I've got friends here in town. They have a camper and they have 4 kids that they homeschool. Well, technically the youngest, she's not quite into the homeschool age range yet, but they homeschool their kids and they go all these places, and they can manage it because they've got like a good sized camper for their family, and they are a lot more relaxed with time scheduling when it comes to homeschooling. Whereas for me, my brain glitches really hard when I kind of get out of rhythm. And it's kind of like an arrhythmia in my brain, even though I know that's not a thing. Maybe it's not a thing. Is it a thing?
Oh man, Google it. You'll find out you have it.
But it's like, I have to get these things done in a certain way. You know, like today we were talking about like dealing with Latin, and then dealing with history, and then we're dealing with reading, and then we're dealing with math, and then we're dealing with this, and we're dealing with all of these things. And I'm like, okay, we're back in the swing of things, and it works out really well for my brain. But the idea of like splitting things apart or taking an extra day or so, just like I wind up not doing things with my channel because I have to get like, my brain can't handle not doing the things for homeschool. And I know not every homeschool parent is like me. And that's just sort of like my thing. And I've come to accept it about me. But also like, I don't know how well I could homeschool kids on an RV. I just don't know.
Set up your life that way. Like there's a way to do it. Like for us, it just takes so much work to leave the farm. Our lives are just not set up for that.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We do need to hop off. I have to go pick up my Azure standard order. Just got it, but it's ready to pick up, and you got to go, to the drop point and pick it up quickly. I ordered a huge butter. So I'm really excited about that. I forget. It might have been like 18 pounds. Yeah, we'll try it. I'll see how it goes. Anyways, so thank you everyone for joining us today and for all the comments and conversation. It was super fun. Still totally jealous that I didn't get to go, to Keto.
I'm jealous you didn't get to come.
It is fun to vicariously live through everyone that was there. So I will be looking for your video so I can experience it. Sort of.
I'm working. I'm trying to fit it in.
All right. We will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. And